teacher in some students is the biggest cheerleader, the biggest motivator in a student's life.
You are the child's biggest advocate.
Seeing students' potential, seeing in them what they may not see in themselves yet, and helping them discover that. And it's like opening up a new world for them.
Next to a parent, a teacher can be the most important person in a student's life, a motivator, a counselor, a mentor. For many of us, it's why we choose to teach.
This is one of the most important times in their lives that they still need to be nurtured and cared for and guided through till they can do it on their own.
I love kids, and I guess I would say that it's exciting. I never know from day to day what I'm going to be doing, and they keep me on my toes.
Being a teacher is a rewarding profession. We can be such an important influence in a child's life.
Now you have a new opportunity to help ensure that our students receive the best education we can offer.
You're here because some of your students are being asked to take a test called the National Assessment of Educational Progress, or NAEP.
The test is given across the country to 4th, 8th, and 12th graders.
NAEP is the only national assessment that allows us to understand how much students know and can do in important subjects such as reading, writing, math, and science.
The results of NAEP are often called the nation's report card. Perhaps you've heard of it or seen it on the news.
The national report card on our schools is in.
When it comes to math and American students, the numbers are going up.
That's according to the National Assessment of Educational Progress, often called the nation's report card.
This is one report card parents will be happy to see.
Now, we know what you must be thinking. Here's another test my students have to take. Well, NAEP is different.
NAEP is important because it is the only assessment that represents student achievement across the country.
Your school has been chosen to participate because of its demographics. Students are selected from a representative sample, and each student who takes NAEP is representing hundreds of other seniors across the country.
We do live in a world of assessment. Assessment is part of public schools nowadays, and I think regardless of the assessment, whether it's your state assessment, a local assessment, or in this case, a national assessment, that it is important that whenever we take an assessment, we give our best effort so we have a valid result.
NAEP has been providing information about student performance for about 40 years.
Experts from around the country, including your state, are involved in its development. NAEP is often called the gold standard of assessments.
NAEP does have an impact on schools. It does have impact nationally and certainly at the state level. And the importance of that, understanding that the results of NAEP are going to impact policymakers and funding practices, is just critical.
Of course, student participation is critical. To get accurate results, we need to make sure all students are represented, and students need to do their best. That may not be an easy task, but if students don't do their best, the results won't reflect what our students really know. As a teacher, you can have a big influence on a student.
If I know my teacher cares, and I know my teacher wants me to do this, the value of that is just huge to getting students to participate in NAEP and do a good job.
You can help. Talk with your students about how important the NAEP test is, and encourage them to do their best.
We need that encouragement from you to make sure all students are represented and results are accurate. Student participation is voluntary. The names of the students who take the test remain anonymous. NAEP isn't interested in who they are, only in what they know.
I think the NAEP test is important because in the end it will guide policymakers' decisions.
The test is short. It only takes about 90 minutes, and you don't have to prepare for it or administer it. The NAEP team takes care of that.
So thank you for being part of NAEP, the nation's report card.
We all have been influenced by one, if not more than one, teacher in our lives, but I know everyone can reflect back on a teacher that made a difference. It might have been they taught me a lot about a certain subject, but I'll bet you it was equally about they treated me with respect and they motivated me. That's the power in being a great teacher.